It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Indeed, and great to have you with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. Thank you, Chad Erickson, for that introduction. Lots to do over the next 60 minutes. Ryan Ballengee will stop by later in the show from Golf News Net. We'll get some thoughts with him on the Masters, which gets underway on Thursday. The par 3 contest on Wednesday, so we'll get into that some baseball talk. Paul Skenes gets rocked for the first time as a major leaguer. I guess you could say rocked. 5 runs in 6 innings. For him, that's rocked. So we'll talk about that. A crazy comeback for the ages in the NHL last night, and a whole bunch more. But we start things out in the NBA, and it's rare we do the three-way, the triangle, if you will, to start the show, but we had to today with the news that broke yesterday. My phone blew up, and one of the people that blew it up was our man Vladimir Louissaint from WQAM in Miami to let me know that Michael Malone was fired as head coach of the Denver Nuggets. So you get Taylor Jenkins fired with the Grizzlies, guys, and then the Nuggets say, hold my beer, and they go and fire Michael Malone with 5 games remaining in the regular season. They're not going to extend the GM. I mean, you've had 24 hours to let it sort of set in here, Kurt. What happened?
First off, there is still plenty of time for Oklahoma City to fire Mark Dagnall before the end of the season and really throw everything up. Now, I'm thinking the same thing everybody was thinking at the time, and frankly, the same thing we were all thinking with Jenkins, which is, okay, maybe this was coming. There had been rumors for a while that if they didn't make a deep playoff run, if they got bounced, particularly in the first round in the Deep West, Michael Malone was in trouble. A year of negotiations with your GM and you don't reach a deal is a sign that your GM's in a lot of trouble. But the timing makes no sense. Like, just at this point, just ride it out. I guess they're looking for a jolt to go into the playoffs, but doesn't this feel more like destabilization? Like you've just ripped the rug out from under them. You didn't jolt them.
It feels like you're calling the season. You're calling the season a wash. Like you're done with the season. It didn't matter. This is how I figure. This is how I look at it. They think they're going to be in the play-in, and I don't think management, the Cronkies, think they might get out of the play-in. So therefore, if you're going to lose, rid of everyone. You're not bringing Booth back. You're not bringing Malone back. So therefore, you're not picking one side or the other, which I think was a good move by Josh Kroenke. You don't want to, because basically, if you did give Booth the extension and this goes on, Malone is gone. And if you sided with Malone, it may look bad to other people.
Yeah.
But to do it this late in the season, they only had 3 games left. What do you think that Rick Adelman's son, even though he's a great assistant coach, what can he do? What kind of jolt he's going to give this team in 3 days, in 3 games, and they possibly, after last night's result, they possibly might be playing in the play-in.
Yeah. By the way, unless David Adelman can somehow find a way to get KCP back on the team, and maybe
right,
it's just
also
not
Jeff Green or Bruce Brown. That's what. That's a bad thing when management, you draft these players and you want to play them. But Michael Malone's an old school guy, so he wants all vets. And that's a problem because they didn't have the money to sign these old school vets. So you got to play the young players you drafted, the personnel that you selected. And Mike Malone either had a problem with playing Julian Swather. I don't know if the Brown, it's been up and down with them. He had a great rookie year, but the last 2 years it's been up and down with them. And they haven't really been playing a lot of the young draft picks that they've selected over the last couple of years to help with the veterans that they lost.
What is it saying that this is the same organization? And I pointed this out in our little group text yesterday, that this is the same organization that, basically bagged George Karl after he won Coach of the Year, and now you're doing this to Michael Malone. I mean, if you're other coaches out there and you're looking at this as a potential next gig, if it isn't David Adelman, what are you thinking if you're other coaches around the league and you see this?
You don't want to win any hardware, and you don't want to get any accolades. No, seriously, we're in a time right now where if you win Coach of the Year, then following year you're going to get fired. You win a championship. If you don't repeat as a champion or get back to the finals within that 2 years, you're going to get fired. Ring protection doesn't hold. There's no more thing called ring protection, which is shocking to me. When you want to make a case for people's legacies, yeah, ring protection works. But when you're talking about this current state of sports right now, especially the NBA, you better win multiple rings. Those are the only guys that have protection. Multiple ring winners.
Kurt?
Yeah, exactly. Vogel wins with the Lakers 2 years later, gone. Budenholzer 2 years later wins with Bucks, 2 years gone. Like it doesn't have ring protection. I will tell you, first off, they've got to hire a GM before they hire the coach. And by the way, hiring David Adelman might not even be a bad call. He looks like a really good potential future coach.
He has a golden opportunity. He has a golden opportunity in front of him.
Yeah, it's a tough situation to get thrown in, but
sure.
Yeah, this ain't Steve Fisher. This ain't a Steve Fisher type of situation with Michigan in '89. I don't think that. Like, he would have to really. Yeah. Even if he wins an NBA title, it'll be tough.
If you're a GM and you're on the outside looking in at this is not that great a job. First off, the Cronkies don't pay that well anyway, so they're not going to go get Bob Myers or somebody. But even if whoever they get, obviously Jokic is locked in and the cornerstone of the team, but Jamal Murray just signed a $200 million extension. Aaron Gordon's locked in at $100 million plus. You've got the Michael Porter Jr. contract. You can tinker around the edges. You can try to trade Michael Porter Jr., but you're not going to be able to make substantial changes to this roster. You're coming in trying to tweak something and make it work, and that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
And the general manager that they did have that led them to the championship left and went to Minnesota, and they haven't been able to beat him in 6 games the last 6 times they played. So it does put an eye on the Cronkies in the situation, because this is going to be their 3rd general manager in like 5 years.
Yeah, but this is how they run the Rams. This is how they run Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal had a nice win yesterday, but they're not big spenders like that on any of their teams.
No, we'll see how they perform in the postseason. That'll obviously have a lot to do with the future of this franchise and what coaching candidates are available, obviously, in this coaching cycle. All right, we got a lot more to do on the show. Don't you go anywhere. Some NBA talk with Kurt Helin and Vladimir Louissaint. The Knicks almost beat the Celtics last night. Almost. Does it count for anything? Does it mean maybe they win a game against them in the postseason? What does it mean? We'll ask Vlad and Kurt. We'll also ask them about, the big game on Wednesday night in the NBA. We got the Lakers and the Mavericks. What happens there? Does it really matter in the overall scheme of things? We'll get to all of that and a whole bunch more. Don't you go anywhere. All right, we continue the NBA conversation. It's a big night in Dallas. Kurt Helin and Vladimir Louissaint. It's the return of Luka after he got ejected from the Lakers' loss on Tuesday night. Said he was talking to a fan. He wasn't talking to the ref. Do you believe him? I don't know. I mean, he's always complaining to somebody, so you never really know. Knicks almost beat the Celtics last night. Does it count for something? Was there anything that gave us hope in that Knicks-Celtics game last night, guys?
No. They're going to get knocked out in the second round again.
They can make the series entertaining, so you're going to be entertained.
Oh, they may win a game. I mean, you're talking about a team, Jaylen Brown, and I'm kind of want to see the severity of Jaylen Brown's injury, because he's been saying he's been playing banged up all year, but Jaylen Brown didn't play at all much of the second half of that game, especially those the important minutes. So I don't know if, it's good to say that the Knicks fully healthy, they were competitive, but were the Celtics fully healthy? No. So, second
is
round.
Tom Thibodeau, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday in our group chat. Is Tom Thibodeau at risk if the Knicks go out in the second round, guys?
Yeah.
I think he should be. I find it hard to believe Leon Rose would move on from his guy, like the guy he really went after. But Thibodeau, more than many coaches, I think has a window, right? You've got like 3 to 5 years before his voice just wears on.
He's an expiration date. He's an expiration date coach.
Exactly. And we're past it. So it's something I think they've got to consider to see if they can get more out of this roster. Because again, they're locked into this roster, right? Like this is the team. They've got to go find a big to get play next to Towns because we've seen that work. Like, and you can't bet on Mitchell Robinson being healthy. You can make some tweaks, but I just think you're going to need a new voice in the room.
I think I've always said Jay Wright would be the voice, but I think the only thing that might save Tibbs is Jalen Brunson and his closeness and his ties with Jalen Brunson. But other than that, if they get I always say there's context in losing. If they get blown out in the second, if they lose in the first round to Detroit, I think he's gone. Yeah. And if they lose in the second round bad, I think he's gone.
Boy, Jay Wright is juicy. Jay Wright would fit New York so good.
I've been saying that for 4 years now. So
does he want the gig? It's a good question, but like
really?
I mean, he's got his guys.
As opposed to what though? I mean, really? If you're not taking the Knicks job and you're Jay Wright at this point in your life, what are you doing?
I mean, he's such a good coach. He could have been offered other jobs.
Can I give you one more? Can I give you one more? Dan Hurley.
Does Dan Hurley translate to the NBA, or is his?
He's thought of as an offensive genius.
But here's the thing: Dan Hurley's just a Mike Malone Jr. type of coach, and that has an expiration date. So maybe to a team that has a young nucleus that's trying to win, that might work. But you're talking about a veteran team.
Tell you what. If they offer it to him, he's taking it. Again, he ain't turning this one down because it's right it's right where he wants to be. It's right in his backyard. His wife ain't gonna say no to it because we know she pulls a lot of the strings there. If they offer Dan Hurley that job, Dan Hurley's leaving UConn.
Why go get the Michael Malone clone if you can get Michael Malone?
Why get Timu Michael Malone when you can get the actual Michael Malone?
Spoken like somebody who's shopped on Timu before, which, by the way, I have as well. That on-air sign is a Timu special. Thank you very much.
I've never shopped on Timu. It's my version of saying, you're the generic version of something that,
Fair enough. Hey, real quick, that Jalen Wells injury last night, that is some frightening stuff. And I'm amazed, guys, that we don't see stuff like that more often with the guys that fly around the hoop in this league, that we don't see more frightening sort of, car wreck situations like we saw last night. Thankfully, it's just a broken wrist. Thankfully, it's not my wrist. Easy for me to say. But that was a scary fall last night, guys.
Yeah. And you see guys are generally pretty good about like, hey, that guy's in the air. I'm not going to take his legs out. But you're right. The guys are flying around trying to block shots. It's kind of, you expect to see more of this or more stuff that spills into the, either the photographers along the baseline or some fans in the corner or something that could be worse. And knock on wood, we won't see more of that. That was genuinely scary. That one was disturbing.
And I don't think Sampson was trying to hurt him. I just think he got caught kind of in the middle of trying to make a play and then realizing he couldn't, and it was just too late when he pulled back. Yeah, maybe, but it's still reckless. Even if there's not intent, you're gone. That's reckless. Oh yeah, he should be tossed. But I don't think there was any. I think there's zero intent there to try and hurt him in that spot. So what do we need to see in this Lakers-Mavericks game tonight? Does it really matter in the overall scheme of sort of where these teams are? I know it's got juice.
Lakers need to win.
Well, the Lakers do. The Lakers do. But if you're the Mavericks,
need to win. Well, I mean,
they can chase the 9-10, but I don't. They're not that far away. By the way, look for a big Anthony Davis night. Look, Lakers don't have a good defender for Anthony Davis. He could put up really big numbers against them. They're going to have to throw a lot of guys at him, which could open up other shots. We'll see. The Lakers need to win, though. I mean, they're going to roll out all their stars back-to-back nights. Everybody's going to play tonight. Everybody played last night in OKC because they have to get wins.
They have to get wins in order to get the 3 seed.
Yep. They've built themselves a little bit of a cushion, but not much of one.
Well, splitting with OKC, the way that they've played. So this is where I got to give Page a little credit, where Page has always been saying he's been saying for months now that he doesn't believe in the Thunder, and they've struggled a little bit. The top teams, which is weird, Kurt, the top teams have struggled towards the last couple of weeks of the season. Now, I don't know if it's because they've already locked down number one and they knew where they were, but there were some games against teams that they will meet in the playoffs that I saw oh, wait a minute. Okay. There's some weaknesses there that can be exploited in both OKC and in with Cleveland. But on the OKC point, they lost back-to-back to Houston and the Lakers. That was the first time they've lost back-to-back games in a long time. And you're talking about the teams that are currently second and third in the West. People are starting to realize how to exploit that big men lineup with Chet and Hartenstein. I don't know there, Kurt. OKC, trek to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know all about that now.
Real quick, Kurt.
I'm still on the OKC bandwagon because I think they're going to come at you in waves and can adjust, but I don't think it's going to be easy. This is not some cakewalk. It is going to be tough every round for them, and they are going to have to prove they can get better and better every game, and we'll see. They have to prove it.
Guys, always fun talking NBA with you. Enjoy the game tonight. I know, Kurt, you're up in Portland watching some showcase up there.
Yeah, you can watch it on Nike Hoop Summit. You can watch it this weekend on Peacock or USA Network.
There you go. Look at he's a company man. We're coming back. This Wednesday edition of Sports Wrap continues. Let's get to some baseball. We got the basketball out of the way early in the show today. There was some big stuff to get to. Now we got to talk some baseball, which we've barely done any baseball this week, other than talking about Ohtani almost hitting for the cycle in odds and ends. We really haven't done much baseball. I know. Hold on, Sam. Hold on. Hold your fire. Hold your fire until people can see your one strand of hair that hangs from your head. All right, so let's talk some baseball, Sam. Paul Skenes, worst performance as a starter in the major leagues. He gives up 5 in a loss to the Cardinals. And look, I mean, as great as he is, it is a headline when he doesn't pitch well. And I talked about this, I think it was yesterday's show. That the beauty of the Dodgers is just seeing how many times are they going to lose, who's going to be able to beat them, and ironically enough, it was a team like the Nationals, which the future is bright, but I don't know if anybody would have expected them to take a series from them. But put that aside for a second. I think Paul Skenes' outings are going to be, all right, is anybody going to be able to hit him? That's the sort of anticipation that's been built now. With Paul Skenes, given what he did in his rookie season and how he started out this year. And yesterday, the Cardinals were able to get to him.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious and does nothing but speak to the greatness of the pitcher himself in his second year, where it is a massive headline when the man gives up 5 runs. He gave up 5 runs. And everyone's talking about it today, how, oh my gosh, Paul Skenes, worst start of his career. What are we? He gave up 5 runs, struck out 7 in 6 complete innings. It's ridiculous to me. If that is the floor for this guy, wow, he's even better than I think I thought he was, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's a no.
Listen, concern, no.
No.
I don't know why with all the, and I know this isn't necessarily an original thought, but with all the pitcher injuries, there's a gut feeling inside of me that thinks he's going to get hurt this year. And that would really suck for the sport. And I mean, anyone who's watched me on this show anywhere has kind of knows how much I love the guy and how much I enjoy watching him pitch. But yeah, I had someone say to me yesterday before his start, obviously, do you think Paul Skenes will win the MVP someday? And I don't know. I personally, I'm of the belief we're in an era where we already saw the last pitcher who's ever going to win the MVP. But if there was ever going to be one to do it, it would be him. It's not going to be anyone else.
I want to ask David Ardsma when he looks at the mechanics of a Skenes, because you mentioned, I'm worried he's going to get hurt. We were talking about Roki Sasaki with David, and he said he saw things in his delivery similar to Ohtani that worry him about potentially some elbow issues. And I'd be curious to get his thoughts. Hopefully we'll have him on the show tomorrow in his usual Thursday spot. I haven't locked that down yet. Bad job by me. But I'm curious to see if he sees anything in Skenes' motion that would give him cause for concern.
So he's unique, right? Like, I think the injury concern, at least to me with Paul Skenes, isn't your normal pitching injury concern. It's not what you're talking about, like a mechanical malpractice or whatever the case may be. It's the fact that he's so big. Like, the guy is just a massive human being.
It's like Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan was like that. Roger Clemens was like that. He is very similar in that way.
It's the just the simple fact that, like, a human body that big, if you repeat anything so many times, it just has so much more room to go wrong because there's so much more. The muscles are so much bigger. The joints are so much bigger, right? So there's so much more surface area, if you will,
6'6",
for a
260.
tear or a break.
6'6", 260, by the way.
Huge. Massive.
He's a horse.
That's a tight end.
He's
That's
a horse.
An NFL
he's
tight
absolutely.
end.
He's a horse. I don't disagree. Good pitching will beat good hitting every time, and the Yankees found that out the hard way yesterday with Tarik Skubal shutting them down, shutting them out. Yankees unable to do anything against the Tigers, who are red hot here after a slow start. I think they've won, 6 in a row. They're 7-4 here in the early going. And if there was a team coming out of the gate in the 2025 season, Sam Yarnell, that needed a fast start to sort of capitalize on what they did late last year, it was the Tigers, and they're getting it right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things, right? And we even heard Clint Hurdle talk about this yesterday. Detroit is a good baseball team, and it's good for baseball that they're a good baseball team. Couple of takeaways from this game, right? First of all, for those of you who remember our preseason betting spectacular on Major League Baseball, we bet a team to be the last team to be shut out. The Yankees obviously being eliminated from that yesterday. We've now had 14 teams in Major League Baseball shut out. The Athletics, not one of them. So we're still riding with that bet. On the Skubal side, kid's great. Like, and it's nice to see him bounce back in a way that he really needed to for both him and the team, because like you said, they've been playing well, but when you're playing well and the ace isn't pitching well, once you get that turned around, you really feel like world beaters. Granted, it is April 9th. On the Yankee side, this Carlos Carrasco thing is not going to work out long term. And I know,
Gee, you think?
I know that Heel is going to miss what, 3 months? 3 months backdated, probably a month at this point, so 2 more. But Cole out for the season. Carlos Carrasco is expected to step up. I don't know, man. Between him and Will Warren, I know Warren has looked good at times.
Yeah, Warren, I think will be all right.
I struggled to get to a point where I can believe that Carrasco and Warren are the back end of a rotation that makes the playoffs and goes deep in it. I
don't worry about Warren. I just worry about the Yankees rotation as a whole. It's not even to me.
Yeah.
It's top to bottom.
Stroman too.
Yeah,
he's looked good at times, but like, is that going to be?
I think they're going to have to make a move for a starter. And look, everybody assumes Sandy Alcantara is going to be a Yankee at some point this year. Everybody assumes that, but I don't know what the Yankees. The problem in that whole scenario is the Yankees farm system is not that deep anymore. I don't know what the Yankees are giving up that the Marlins are going to want to rebuild that franchise with. I don't see it unless
Will Warren
Jason
and Ben
Dominguez.
Rice. That's all you've got left.
Or Jason Dominguez. You know, that's another guy. All right, that's our baseball talk. The Ottawa Senators are going to the playoffs. Who's the next team to end a long playoff drought? Coming up in 10 minutes, my man Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net. Get some thoughts with him on the Masters, a preview. How is Scottie Scheffler the favorite? And he's not just a favorite, he's a really big favorite when you look at the odds. Him and Rory and then everybody else. I want to know how Scheffler's the favorite. Also later in the show, in Odds and Ends, Sam will have his Masters predictions for us as well. You know you're going to do that, right? Yeah? No? He's just like, maybe? No? Yeah? You got something?
I'll come up with something.
All right, you can come up with something. So hats off. We are on in the United States. But one of the cool things about this show is that we're also on throughout all of Canada. Not like some of Canada. We're on throughout Canada. thanks to our friends at Fubo and Games Plus, and Game Plus, and that includes Ottawa. Hey, congratulations, Ottawa. Okay. By the way, I'm an American, but I love Canada. So don't go taking us off the air or anything like that just because we're from the U.S. Sam, I can't speak for him. I think he's got a little Canada hatred in him. But I love Canada myself. Sorry, Sam. No?
As someone who grew up spending many a summer at the Canadian border.
At the border, or did you go over? Did you go over the border?
Multiple times over the border.
All right.
Multiple times.
Just checking.
Sailed over the border once. Bet you didn't do that. That's right. I sailed from the U.S. to Canada.
Can I tell you? I've only been to Canada recently for the first time. I went to Halifax, St. John's, and I've been to Vancouver on cruises that stopped. So those are my first trips into Canada. I got to tell you, I would move to Halifax tomorrow if I could. Halifax is gorgeous. If you ever get a chance, folks, go to Halifax. Unbelievable.
You ever been there in the winter?
So what? Winter's everywhere are warming up now because of I'm serious. Go look at it. It's actually not that bad. Because it's right on the water. I actually talked to people who live there, and I was like, how bad are the winters? Because my husband and I were looking at it.
You talk to people who were born and raised in Halifax,
to them, it's
Nova
not cold.
Scotia.
I get it. Okay. All right, fine. But the point of all of this is to say the Ottawa Senators have snapped an 8-year drought, and they're headed to the playoffs, Sam Yarnell, which got me to wondering not how far the Senators are going to go in the playoffs. I mean, let's be honest. They've made the playoffs. That's great. But, it got me wondering what team, what Major League Sports drought we could envision, a playoff drought ending. So I pose the question to you. I posit the question to you. What team can you see ending their playoff malaise?
Well, there's a correct answer, and there's the answer that I will choose to give you. The answer that I'll choose to give you first, that's the team represented right over my right shoulder right here by former member of the team Kyle Okposo playing his 1,000th game in the blue and gold. I'll go with the Buffalo Sabres to end the, at the time of this recording, second longest, soon to be longest, because they and the Jets go back and forth, playoff drought in major American sports right now. Why? Well, I can't really tell you. I'm not going to sit here and say I have a ton of confidence in the front office, and I'm pretty sure, as Dennis Bernstein told us just a few days ago, that the coaching staff will be gone after this year. But I think there are some young players, and hey, if they completely do a 180 in terms of coaching and get a coach that's young and analytical and can manage, 20 and 23-year-old players and a superstar who's not even 30 yet, then I think the Sabres have a real chance because Tage Thompson is a great hockey player. Now, the correct answer, obviously the Detroit Red Wings. This is a team that was in playoff contention for parts of this season. They're going to finish not too many points out of the playoff race this year. And the Detroit Red Wings are just a team that, frankly, it feels like been up and coming for the better part of the last 2 decades since they lost Nicholas Lidstrom. All that said, my heart tells me the Buffalo Sabres. My head tells me the Detroit Red Wings. Odd that they both come from hockey.
It is odd that they both come from hockey. And as I sit here and ponder this question that I posed to you, it should be noted there will be a few teams in the NHL postseason from Canada. Toronto obviously is having a fantastic year in the East. Ottawa's going to be in there.
Win the cup, though.
Montreal. Oh, see, there it is. There's that. See, he just had to dig it into you, Toronto.
It's Toronto.
That is Sam Yarnell, ladies and gentlemen. That is not me.
The Leafs fans would agree
that
with
is not
me.
me.
They're sitting there nodding their heads. You, Maple Leafs fan, looking at me, you're sitting there, you're nodding your head. You're nodding it. You know that John Tavares, he was just never the move. He's done irreparable damage to that franchise's postseason hopes.
So Toronto's going to get in, though. They'll be in the playoffs. Ottawa's going to be in the playoffs. And Montreal has a very good shot to make the playoffs, barring something incredibly unforeseen. They're 8 points clear of the Rangers. With like 5 games or 4 games, whatever it is left in the season. So Montreal looks like it is on its way to the postseason as well. So same cannot be said for Vancouver Calgary might still have a shot to get in, but we love our friends in Canada. We appreciate you watching. I'll go with the New York Jets to snap the long drought, and the only reason I will is I just want to see them make the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers. I just want to see them. I want to see them make the playoffs, and I'm rooting for Justin Fields. 14 years. It's been 14 years. You could be a teenager and be a Jets fan and have never seen them in the playoffs, not have any idea what it's like to see them in the playoffs. Mark Sanchez is not walking through that door. Rex Ryan is not walking through that door. But Curtis Martin is not walking through that door. Bart Scott is not walking through that door.
Can't wait.
But Justin Fields is. I can't wait to watch him this year. Get a full season, uninterrupted, as the Jets starting quarterback. Snap the drought. Ryan Ballengee is next to preview the Masters. And on the eve of the Masters, we're talking some golf. Who's going to win it? We know who's not going to win it. As I said on Tuesday's show, or was it Monday's show? Monday's show. They all blend together. We know who's not going to win it, Ryan Ballengee. Brian Harman's not going to win it because he won the week before, so he can't win it, right?
Well, unless he wants to be the third guy in modern history to win the week before the Masters and then have a green jacket the following Sunday.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. He gets a $1.71 million consolation prize, so I think that works out.
Fair enough. So let's talk about this. Look, Scottie Scheffler's the favorite, and I need somebody to tell me why, because he hasn't played like a guy that I should just expect to walk into Augusta National and win the Masters. When he's won it before, he's walked in playing well. He's not playing great golf right now.
Well, he is, just not to the level that we saw last year.
Right.
And to your point, in 2022, he had come off a big winning run where he finally broke through, and then all of a sudden he was unbeatable. And 24 looked even more unbeatable, seemed more inevitable, and it was. This doesn't feel that way, but he is still third in strokes gained in total on the PGA Tour per round average. It may not be his best golf, but it's still just about better than everybody else. But that doesn't come through in a 5-to-1 pricing for a guy who's won the Masters twice and was dominant last year. That sounds like more of a Scottie versus the field number when you've got a couple of guys in McIlroy and, in my opinion, Morikawa that are great players and are doing better than him in strokes gained this year.
And have won this year. I mean, Rory's won this year a couple of times.
Twice.
I mean, yes.
First time in his career he's ever won before April on the PGA Tour. I mean, and he's done it at iconic places, Pebble Beach and Sawgrass to win a second Players. I mean,
but
I know he is snake bitten in this tournament.
Exactly.
He has failed every imaginable way.
Thank you.
But
it's Rory, and I mean, at the same time, as much as I'm going to dog the fact that Scheffler hasn't won anything coming into this tournament and is favored like a guy against the field, Rory also, we've seen what's happened to him at this tournament. What should make us believe this time around, if we're in that same situation, we don't get the same result?
And I think skepticism is fair, although I think McIlroy is a more complete golfer at this stage of his career than he has been at any point in his career. He has gone out of his way to kind of study how Scottie Scheffler wins tournaments and learn how to play more percentage-based golf, a little bit safer form of aggression that has worked out well for him. He's changed equipment to have a softer golf ball. That's something Tiger Woods did so successfully. He played a softer ball than everybody else because he wanted to control spin. And he's learned the value of that in short game, learned the value of launching lower with wedges. He won the Players without his best stuff. He's learning to win without his A game, so to speak. I mean, I think those are reasons to take him seriously. And just in general, yeah, he didn't play on Scottie's level last year. Only Xander Schauffele did. But the consistency of his performances throughout the entire year, throughout the global schedule, was impressive. And if you add it all up, it was really, really, really good.
Ryan Ballengee, by the way, the owner and founder of Golf News Net. He's a writer, hosts a show there. He probably changes the toilet bowl like cleaning thing that you put in the toilet bowl. He probably does that too, because he does just
today,
about, see, he does just about everything else. So I'm just making sure we make that known. John Rahm is next on the odds. I didn't really plan to just go down the list, but John Rahm is nearly double the odds that Rory is at 6.5, and then 14-1 for Rahm coming into this. I haven't watched a ton of Live Golf, but if you're going to give me a reason why John Rahm coming off the Live Golf season wins this thing, I'm all ears.
I don't have a compelling one. I mean, he hasn't finished worse than tied for 9th in a Live event this year. They've played 5 of them. He hasn't finished worse than 9th. He hasn't done anything to win one, but he hasn't done poorly. I think top 10 finishes are kind of your bare minimum for John Rahm on Live, because it is a 10-person league in my view. But he's won here. He's won multiple majors. He had a very suspicious, awful-looking majors 2024. So he probably wants some semblance of revenge. Those are the positives to take from it. I don't think he should be at the price he is, but given the other choices, maybe he should be.
He made a very interesting comment about the Live PGA Tour merger and basically saying it's not even close. What should we glean from that other than the fact that it's really not close?
You should take him at face value. I feel like in some ways they are further away than when they started this thing almost 2 years ago, this negotiation.
Wow.
Because they have hardened their positions, particularly the Saudis, who have been really running hot and cold over these last 22 months of this negotiation. And the PGA Tour has come and hardened their position and said, look, ratings are up over last year, which may have been the nadir of all of this in terms of the separation. Fans seem to embrace our new stars. They seem to embrace the new schedule. Brooks and Bryson's contracts with Liv come to an end maybe this year, maybe next year. John Rahm supposedly on a 3-year deal, so his contract kind of ends. And Liv's ratings, if you look over the past weekend, the Valero Texas Open versus Liv Miami, PGA Tour outdrew him by almost 4-1. And that was probably the best chance Liv had to compete with the PGA Tour this year. So they're just sitting back going, well, we've got all the cards. What do you guys have? And the Saudis say, well, we have almost unlimited money. We can keep spending it if we'd like. But they want value for what they have spent so far, which is somewhere between $4 and $5 billion. Very little return on it. They want team golf to continue to exist. They want Liv to continue to exist. And they want that as a precondition of investing $1.5 billion into the tour's for-profit subsidiary. And they said, no, thank you. And I think that's kind of where it stands right now.
I got 10 seconds. Who wins?
Collin Morikawa. It's his time. He's second best on the tour in strokes gained. This is his chance.
Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net. Always appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you.
All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. Tomorrow we will have a recap of what should be a raucous affair tonight in Dallas. The return of Luka, Mavericks, and the Lakers meeting up. Should have David Ardsma on the show, usually in his Thursday spot, to talk all things Major League Baseball. I want to get his opinion on Paul Skenes' throwing motion, too, because we were talking about him getting roughed up. So we'll ask him about that and a whole bunch more from Major League Baseball. Some reminders. If you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey. Where did I miss? Amazon. You can check it out there as well. You can also watch the show on Spotify every day. You can watch the show on YouTube every day as well. If you have not subscribed to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, you don't know what you're missing. Extended conversations. We had Clint Hurdle on the show yesterday. We will have the full conversation with Clint Hurdle. You only saw a couple of segments from that on yesterday's show, 3 to be exact. There was an hour, basically, of us chatting with Clint Hurdle. We will have that on the show or on the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel as well. All right, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. Wow. The Dallas Stars up 5-2 with under a minute to go in the third period last night against the Vancouver Canucks. I wonder if there were even live odds available on Vancouver down 5-2 with under a minute to go, Sam Yarnell. They come from behind, score 3 in that final minute, make it 5-5, and then in overtime, they win it. 6-5 the final score, Sam Yarnell.
Yeah, they're the first team in NHL history to overcome a 3-goal deficit in the final minute of a hockey game. It was impressive. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's so funny that the Canucks have had this incredibly unique season with the JT Miller thing, with the Elias Pettersson thing, and obviously now this wild and wonderful game.
Keeps their playoff hopes alive too.
Team.
Yeah, keeps their playoff hopes alive as well with that win. So hats off to the Canucks. We love you, Canada. Even if Sam Yarnell doesn't, we love you, Canada. I'm just gonna make sure everybody thinks you hate Canada. Make sure they have like pictures.
What a weird narrative to push.
I know it is. All right, Sam Yarnell, odds and ends. Scottie Scheffler is the favorite to win the match, and as I was just saying to Ryan Ballengee, I don't know how, but Scottie Scheffler is your favorite to win the Masters now at plus 400, so 4-1. Rory McIlroy at plus 650. And then there's a drop-off to live golfer Jon Rahm at 14-1. What do you got for me when it comes to the Masters?
Yeah, Jason, I think we're going to have a great tournament. We'll get to my players who I will pick to win and, X finish and XYZ in just a sec. But my favorite prop, I know that a couple of the books out there hang these weird props on this kind of tournament when we get to these majors. Over on DraftKings, what will the cut score be? There's a line out there at 146.5. I'm going to play over on that. It was 151 last year. Now, listen, I know that people will look back on last year and say, oh, well, don't you remember, Sam, the first 2 days of the Masters last year, we had horrible weather and everything was awful. Well, let me get this straight. Even if there weren't going to be bad weather, which on Friday we're expecting storms and rigorous winds, you expect Augusta National Golf Club to we're not talking about for the top players in the world, we're talking about for the mid-tier players in the world, you're expecting that course to play 5 strokes easier? Yeah, that's not really in the business of what Augusta National does. So I'm going to play the over 146.5 in terms of what will the cut score be and hope that terrible weather coming on Friday with a low around 55 and wind gusts up to 13 miles per hour. Am I seeing that correctly, or is that 13 knots? Regardless, I think that'll tear it up and hope that bad weather forecast can tuck me home with that bet. In terms of the winners, or at least who I think will win. You're right. I don't really understand the Scottie Scheffler price to win this tournament, except for, I guess, last year. But one thing I do know about Augusta National Golf Club is that it is a very chalky golf course, and the Masters tournament generally tends to be a pretty chalky tournament. So I'm going to play Scottie Scheffler at 4-1, 4.5-1. I know he's being hung at different numbers on different books. Get whatever best number you can, because it's only going to get worse from there. So I'm going to play Scottie Scheffler to win the Masters. I looked at Jon Rahm. He's been playing good golf, especially when you look at this course in the past few years. I know last year was kind of a one-off for him, but obviously the win just a couple of years ago. I'm not going to finish on with Jon Rahm. I am going to go with Bryson DeChambeau instead. He is my favorite live golfer in this tournament. I'm going to go with Bryson DeChambeau at 19-1, and another live golfer that I will be playing is Brooks Koepka. I've seen his number fluctuating 30-1s, 33-1s in the market. Get whatever you can on the best of the Brooks Koepka number, and then the principal play I will have is Hideki Matsuyama, the only reason being he won at the correlated course in Kapalua, Jason.
Give me Michael Kim to make the cut at plus 700. Playing good golf this year. I'm telling you, playing good golf. Go look at the numbers. Guy's playing really good golf this year, and you can get
7-1.
Get him at 7-1. 7-1 to make the cut. I like it. And follow him on X. He's a good follow. Has a golf diary there. Oh, we're out of time. We'll see you tomorrow.